Sorry if there's a little bit of delay, but we're about to go live on the Never Again Live podcast with Meir Weinstein. And this is live from the Temple Mount. As everybody knows, there was a great accomplishment by the Israeli Defense Force. This is Dr. Bina Studio signing out, and we'll have Meir and Baruch on the screen momentarily. Please do share this immediately on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and let everybody in social media join in and make comments. I'm checking out. Meir, it's all you.
Very much. Again, I'm encouraging whoever is joining us, please share this on whatever social media platform you use, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, WhatsApp groups, Facebook. We'd really appreciate it. We'll reach a lot more people. It's going to be a very exciting show today. Normally, when we have the podcast from Har Bayit from the Temple Mount with Baruch, Ben-Yoseph, we discuss the Parsha. And we'll be discussing the Parsha as we always do, but it's we're all in a very good mood because the IDF assassinated in Iran the head of Hamas, Ishmail Haniyeh. I remember after the massacre on October 7th, he publicly showed a video of himself with other Hamas leaders, and they were just celebrating and praying to Allah and thanking Allah for the slaughter of Jews. Well, he met his fate. He met his fate. And the IDF assassinated him with other leaders of Hamas and Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations. Baruch, how are you today?
Great. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
But
what's the mood like there right now?
The IDF never took responsibility. I mean, for all we know, it might have been one of Haniyeh's business partners.
It may have been the JDL.
Right, exactly. Where were you the other night, Meir?
I was with you.
Oh, right.
And Garth, and Garth was joining us.
All right.
Absolutely.
I think it would be a good idea for every night they kill at least one guy. One guy a night. Let's keep them on their toes.
Yep.
You know, it doesn't matter how high or low they are. Just kill one a night. Everybody will be happy the next day, and these guys won't know, where they should be go to sleep every night.
I'm good for even two a night.
Okay, I'm saying, but you're an extremist. All right, we just got in here. We're in the Temple Mount. Everybody can see. Got a nice big group this morning.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, well, of course, we're in the period of the 3 weeks of before Tisha B'Av. Next week is Rosh Chodesh Av, the new month of Av, and always during the 3 weeks there's an awakening of people who want to show their connection to the Temple Mount and the temple, and always more people come up during this period of time. Personally, I'm like, whenever I hear people talking about the 3 weeks and all the fasts and all of the mourning period, I would say, well, there's a solution to that. We just have to build the temple, and we could skip all that. Well, they don't like to hear that. People don't like to hear that when I say it. This past Shabbat, I said it in the cave of the Machpelah.
Right.
Some rabbi was teaching all the halachot, all the laws of the 3 weeks. I couldn't take it anymore. I said to him, listen, stop talking stupidity and let's build a temple. Last week we read, of course, the portion I didn't come up last week, so we didn't do the portion of Pinchas, which deals with the sacrifices. Oh, wait a second. We have some important rabbi here.
Even when
Hello?
we may still have to fast. Just like Penny says.
What?
But it will be a happy fast.
There's an opinion here that even when we build the temple, we'll still have to fast. but it'll be a happy fast like Yom Kippur, and not like Tisha B'av. But okay, it's good for the diet. It's fast once in a while.
You're not doing the Beit HaMikdash in order not to fast?
Oh, we're not building the Beit HaMikdash not to fast. We're building the Beit HaMikdash for the sake of the Beit HaMikdash. So, okay, important point. Okay, so was last week like we read about all the sacrifices,
Right.
the public sacrifices, which we can do today if we would build an altar, even though we're in a state of purity. We've discussed it, that when it comes to public sacrifices, the state of impurity doesn't deny us the ability of bringing these sacrifices. The state of impurity only prevents personal, private sacrifices by the individual. This week, of course, we have a double portion in the Torah, which is matot maseh,
Right.
which obviously these two portions are very connected to the land of Israel. We have this is now the end of the book of Numbers, Bamidbar, and we're about to go into Eretz Israel. And so we have here in Matot, we first start off with the taking vengeance against the enemies of Israel, against the Midianites, who caused the whole calamity that happened with the tribe of Shimon, and the fact that Pinchas had to go in and intervene, risk his life to stop the plague by killing the head of the tribe and his Midianite girlfriend. And now we have to take vengeance. Hashem says, this is an important point, very important point, that and Rabbi Kahana brings it up he would bring it up very often, is that Hashem tells Moshe, take your vengeance on the Midianites, and then you will go and join your forefathers, and you'll pass away. And Moshe tells the people, the Jewish people, take Hashem's vengeance on the Midianites. Not what Hashem said to Moshe, take your vengeance, but take Hashem's vengeance. And Rabbi Kahana would tell us that this is an important point, because if it was Moshe's vengeance, it was his personal vengeance, and the people knew that after that he's going to leave them, he's not going to be their leader anymore, then they might say, well, you know what, we'd rather just keep Moshe. We can forfeit the vengeance. By saying it's Hashem's vengeance, then there's no option of putting it off, of not fulfilling the vengeance. So he says Hashem's vengeance, and then of course they send 1,000 from each tribe, led by Pinchas himself, the man who stopped the plague, like we said, putting his life at risk, killing the head of the tribe, Shimon, and then he led them in battle, and ultimately they destroyed the Midianites, killing Bilam and all the heads of the Midianite nation, and it was a big victory, and shows the importance of vengeance. Okay, a lot of people say vengeance, it's a bad thing, it's not the Jewish way, but it is the Jewish way. The whole somebody said to me last night, he said to me that it's interesting that when these two guys were killed the other day, Haniyeh and the guy, the head of the Hezbollah army, he said it was the yortzeit of Shimshon. Shimshon, it says when he died when he knocked down the pillars holding up this building in Gaza where he was being held, and he killed the thousands of the heads of the Philistines. He said it was his yortzeit. So he says it's very it's interesting how he knocked down the two pillars and killed the Philistines, and these guys are like the two pillars. The one pillar of the Hezbollah and one pillar of the Hamas.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Elaborate more on that. That's unbelievable.
Well, Shimshon, of course, his whole existence was vengeance. That was his whole purpose of being. Everything he did was so that he could take vengeance on the Philistines. So which also shows, obviously, again, the important value of vengeance. Not personal vengeance against your fellow Jew, but national vengeance against the enemies of Israel.
Yep.
And it's not
Yep.
something that we have the right to forego or relinquish. It's our job to carry out acts of vengeance.
You're not being extreme enough.
I'm sorry, I'm being accused of not being extremist enough. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Okay. As you get older, you
You're mellow.
you're mellow, right? So Shimshon, we know, and he was in Judea, and the heads of Judea were very angry at him because he's causing the Philistines to come down on them. And he said, no, it's all right. Just blame me. I'll take care of it. Like his whole thing was to bring about vengeance on the Philistines, what they did to us. So, again, that's what we're seeing here now, is that we're taking vengeance. We're taking vengeance. That's what we should be doing. We should be doing acts of vengeance against what happened on what's called October 7th. I call it Shmini Atzeret, Shabbat Shmini Atzeret. Is the important thing is to, excuse me, sir. The important thing is to take vengeance, and that follows everything else. And therefore, again, if that was the official policy of the state of Israel and the Israeli army and so on, then the whole war would have been conducted differently. Obviously, their interest wasn't vengeance. It was, okay, we have to stop the Hamas from doing this again. Never again. They're never again. But never again is obviously an important message. Again, that was Rabbi Gana taught us that. But there's something higher than never again. Okay, higher than that is vengeance, which that's what, if you read the Tehillim, Psalms with that King David wrote, the whole thing is it talks about vengeance constantly, about taking vengeance against the evil, which is what he did. If you know examples of what King David did was like, I mean, here's a great example: is his family had hid out by the king of Moab, which is on the other side of the Jordan. Yeah, they hid out by him because Saul was looking to kill David and kill his family, so they hid out by Moab. So when Moab was I forget who died. Someone, maybe his son died. The king of Moab's son died. So King David sent a contingency of people to go and what do you call it? Console him for his mourning. So they go there, and what does the king of Moab do? He shaves half their beards, which is a disgrace. They came back to Judea with half beards, and King David told them, "Okay, you guys go till your beards grow back. Go, you tell them take off the other half." And they said, "Wait, go. So, you guys go, separate yourselves." So, because it's a disgrace, the whole thing, and then he goes and sends Yoav, the general, to go and take vengeance on Moab for cutting off half their beards, and then he killed thousands of Moabites in vengeance for the half beards, which just shows you the importance of vengeance. That's one of the highest forms of service to Hashem, is taking vengeance against the evil and the enemies of Israel. So when we see that in the portion this week, and we see that with Shimshon, and like again, killing these two guys were acts of vengeance. Remember, because what happened in Golan with the Druzy kids that were killed, and so on, and what Haniyeh did, celebrating the massacre on October 7th. So killing these guys is not going to stop a war. Like somebody said yesterday, it's not going to stop any war, and it's not going to be any big game changer. But it's a statement of vengeance, and that's very important. Okay, because I think that Hashem will reward us for acts of vengeance like this. As I say, if every night there'd be an act of vengeance, it would add up to a very important amount of what's going on here. Oh, there, we got to keep it down because they're doing the repetition. They already davened. I don't know if I told you that my mother passed away 2 months ago, so I'm
No, I didn't. I didn't know.
Kaddish, yeah, it's a Kaddish.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah, so when they say Kaddish, I'll just join in.
Yep.
So here we're on the eastern side. You can see here in front of us is the place of the temple, and
Yep.
hopefully we'll be at the very least beginning the sacrifice. The sacrifice is very soon, which is very important. So portion continues again after we have the taking vengeance on the Midianites, and then we have after that we have the two tribes, Reuven and Gad, want to take their portion of Eretz Israel on the other side of the Jordan, the eastern side of the Jordan, in the area which is called Yazer and Gilad. They're mountainous areas on the other side of the Jordan. And they said, we're shepherds. We have flock, and this is the perfect land for us to shepherd our flocks. Mountainous land, it's very green, very lush. And Moshe, unfortunately, right away thought that they're trying to just get out of the war to conquer the land of Israel, to liberate the land of Israel. And he said he compared it to the act of the spies who tried to convince the people to stay in the desert and not go into the land of Israel. And they said, no, it was the exact opposite. Our plan is that we're going to build fences around where we leave our families. We build fences around them to protect them from the enemies, and we're going to go at the head of the army. We're going to lead the army into battle. We're not going to, try to shirk our responsibility. The opposite. We're gonna go up to the front, in front of everybody. Shows their greatness. The fact that they're going to lead in battle. And I think it's a very important lesson.
Yep.
That especially today when there's this whole argument about serving in the army and so on. I mean, there's a big problem with the Israeli army, and we all know that, and it's not important to get into that right now. But despite that, there is no other army. There is no other army. That's all we got. And instead of boycotting it, we should take it over. Okay, and we could do it. There's enough religious Jews who should show like the national religious Jews who show the lead in battle. They want to become officers. They want to lead in battle. They go to battle units. The whole thing. That's how the entire religious community should act. We want to lead in battle. We want to take over the army. We don't want to leave the army in the hands of these guys who, think like in woke terms and think in all kinds of like they can use the army as a testing grounds for all kinds of crazy things that don't apply. The army needs to be the best, most effective army that they could be, and it requires people that have the fighting spirit. Fighting spirit is more important than the weaponry and the tactics and anything. Is the spirit to fight. And that if you if you read the Tanakh, if you read the Bible, if you follow the laws, that's what you'll have. You'll have a fighting spirit. The spirit of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, of Judah and his brothers, of King David and Pinchas and all the great Yoav and the great Jews from the Tanakh, and also later on the Maccabees and so on, Bar Kokhba. That spirit would exist. Unfortunately, because the heads of the army don't have that spirit, we find that they're constantly looking for a way to end the war. Let's end the war. Let's just make a trade and pull out. All these crazy ideas that are just going to invite the next war instead of totally destroying their capabilities. And the main thing and the most important thing is how to defeat the Arabs. Is you have to take away the land from them. We have to take the Temple Mount away from them. We have to take the land away from them. That's the way you punish the Arabs. Everything in there, they don't care about dying, but they care about taking away the land. So, it would have been more effective to on October 8th to just grab a bunch of land in Gaza, and say, you're not getting this back. This is the lesson for you. You're not getting this land back ever. That would have had a greater effect than anything else. Okay,
Right.
Especially when you talk about land, let's say the Philadelphia Road, where they're using that to smuggle stuff into weapons and into Gaza. I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous. That should have been the first objective of the war. Take
Yeah,
that.
no kidding.
Tell them,
Right.
you had it, you misused it, you're not getting it back ever. Okay, that would have had a much greater effect than killing a half a million of them. But unfortunately, we don't understand that. I mean, we should understand it. We've been told that. Enough experts have said that if you want to
Yeah.
punish the Arabs, you got to take away their land. And here, Temple Mount is a perfect example. We this is our holy place, not theirs. We got to take it away from them.
Right.
Leave it in their hands.
Right.
So that's got to be the military strategy, which is based on Jewish concepts. So the two tribes of Gad and Reuven and the half tribe of Manasseh settle on the other side of the Jordan River, the eastern side of Eretz Israel. And interestingly enough, if you want to look at it historically, when they gave the mandate to the British, the League of Nations after World War I, to create a homeland for the Jewish people, the other side of the Jordan, the eastern part of Eretz Israel, was part and parcel of that. If you look at the map,
Right.
you see that it goes all the way up to Iraq, and then slowly but surely they started cutting it up, dissecting the land of Israel, and to the point where there was almost nothing left. By the time 1948 came around, there was almost nothing left. They did everything they could to deny the Jews homeland, and the only way that we ended up having a state, because the state that they're willing to give us was indefensible.
Right.
Was in the war, the war of liberation in '48. We had to liberate all the lands that they had, stolen from us. Unfortunately, they ended the war without taking back everything. Like, they didn't take back Jerusalem. The Temple Mount was in their hands for 19 years. And the other side of the Jordan, and all these lands, also this side of the Jordan, the Judea and Samaria, all these lands were left in their hands. And it wasn't until 1967, the Six-Day War, that we liberated all these lands. And then we see again the myopic leadership who have no faith and trust. Instead of keeping the land and telling, like Rabbi Kana said, annex it. It's our land. It's part of the land of Israel. Slowly but surely, they give it back. They make deals. They make treaties. They give away the land. Instead of calling it Eretz Israel, it becomes Area C, Area B, Area A, and all this insanity. So, a gift like that from Hashem, you don't throw away, and you don't throw it back. Like we don't want it. obviously there's going to be a price for something like that. October 7th is a clear price for the way the Jews acted and throwing back Eretz Israel, throwing it away, and
Yeah. Yeah.
giving. I mean, Gaza, or Gaza, that was that was a place where Jews lived throughout the generations. When they didn't live in Judea, but they were living in Gaza. There's an ancient synagogue there. There was constantly Jewish presence in Gaza, and it's just unfortunate that people understand the importance of Eretz Israel. I don't even know how to describe it, because people look like, well, it's just land, yeah, it's just land, it's just real estate, it's
Well, then the Torah is just a book,
right.
because the Kuzari says, gives me three things: the Jewish people, the land of Israel, and the Torah. You can't compromise on any of it. A Jew is a Jew is a Jew. The Torah is the Torah. That's truth. We can't add to it. We can't subtract from it. That's just the way it is. And same thing with the land of Israel. Every single grain of the land of Israel is intrinsically holy and is connected to the Jewish people and to the Torah. And it's these real estate deals that it doesn't even work. They say from the river to the sea. They've been saying it forever. They've been declaring war on us. And even to try to explain it even is insane, because what are we dealing with, really? We're dealing with the Arabs or the Muslims look at us like we're a little tiny ant. We have about 15 million Jews in the world, depending who the demographer is. We don't know exactly what the count is, but around that. It could be less, it could be more, and there's over 2 billion Muslims in the world. So they look at us like we're maybe not even an irritant. We don't even merit that word maybe to them. Just get rid of them. They're 15 million. They're like a flea.
I'm going to say Kaddish now. 1 second.
Okay, we'll pause.
Shall I get Kaddish? 1 second. אפשר? יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה, ועמד דברו חירותי, ימליך מלכותי, ויצמח פה כנב כמשיחי, ויכון ובנכון וחיילוכו בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב עמו אמן. יש בתמורה מנסי, ויתהדר ויתעלה ותעלה, שמעני קודשה בריחו, ואלה מקודשה ושבתה, ושבתה ונחמתה, דמרן ועמד עמו אמן. יהי שלום עלינו, וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמו אמן. עשה שלום ורומה, ופרי יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמו אמן.
Amen.
Baruch Adonai Baruch. Okay.
Okay, so they look at us like we're not on equal footing. We shouldn't be here. They should dominate everything, and any kind of agreement it's not valid to them. We have no right to be there. As far as we're like some kind of a flea. Get rid of it, and that's it. So we think like we have some of our leaders that think they're so smart that we're great lawyers and we're going to hold them to the agreement and hold them to the word. Well, how did that work out with the Camp David Accords? That on the Philadelphia route, through the tunnels, not one tunnel or two, over 50 huge tunnels where the arms are pouring in and they're arms to the teeth.
It's like unbelievable when you think about this. This was going on the whole time. And obviously Israel knew about it. And they just ignored it. And because it's a great, I was thinking, why didn't they do it? Why didn't they go in right away and take the tunnel, or they take the Philadelphia road? Because the Egyptians are making so much money on taxing everything that goes in through the tunnels. They didn't want to ruin the this beautiful deal that the Egyptians had. I mean, it's just incredible. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. You can't relate to Eretz Israel as real estate, and it's just awful. It's like I remember once some guy said once in Mitzvah Navo in the shul there, in the Happy Minute, he said, you know, people act like Eretz Israel, like, well, it's all right to just throw, garbage around and litter and, eat the seeds and throw the shells on the floor. He says, would you do that to a Sefer Torah? Would you eat, seeds and throw the shells on the Sefer Torah? Of course not.
Right.
No one would do that. So why are you doing that with Eretz Israel? I thought it was a great analogy.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Very nice.
Because we're constantly relating to it. Just well, it's just just land. It's not holy. No, it is holy.
Yeah.
It's so holy that it's as holy as the Sefer Torah.
Yep.
And so, how do you get that through to the people? I don't know. It's very difficult to get them to accept this idea. Again, because I think that unfortunately the the whole real estate business makes everything much it like makes it doesn't make it holy. It's the opposite. It makes it it makes like well, it's just a regular, it's just like any place in the world. It's just real estate. It's not. There's nothing special about it. I mean, well, you have Jerusalem and you have the Temple Mount, all right, and you have the cave of the Machpelah, but or you have the cemeteries, or you have your holy places, whatever. But it's not that. It's the whole land. The whole land. Everything about the land is holy. And if you learn Torah properly, you understand that if you want to bring offerings to the temple, you bring them from Eretz Israel. You don't bring them from Chutz La'aretz. You don't bring them from outside the country.
Right.
The second portion of the week, Masai, starts off with the journeys throughout the desert, and then goes into talking about the borders of the land of Israel. And the borders, what we call the biblical borders, are gigantic. I mean, it goes all the way up to Turkey and out to Iraq and both sides of the Jordan and all the way down to Egypt. And it's not this little pitsy little state like we have here in the state of Israel. It's a gigantic area. All of Lebanon. There is no state of Lebanon. There's a landmass called Lebanon. The mountains, but they're not. But that's part of the land of Israel. All of this, and and part of Hashem's promise to us as the redemption is that He even expands it more than that. He gives us three more, a bigger area, all the area around southern Jordan and Saudi Arabia and the Arab Emirates. All this area becomes part of the land of Israel. It's part of the promise, and we're just saying, no, just let us live in this little, just give us. We won't bother you. We'll leave you alone. We could live in peace. Just give us this little piece of land between the famous saying is between Gedera and Hadera. Gedera is south of Rehovot, and Hadera is south of Haifa, and that's all we need is Gedera from Hadera, like the original land that they gave us, that they left us after they dissected the land of Israel in 1948.
Right.
Indefensible borders. So, they can't. These people can't understand what's wrong with them. Just let us live here. We're not going to bother you. We'll bring you prosperity. And
yeah,
I mean, it's on because again, Rabbi Kahn always said it's a war of religions. It's a war of.
It is.
Is God, is Hashem their God, or is Allah the God?
Yeah.
And they don't understand that. They
and the clearest proof is exactly what we're going through right now. You look at Gaza before October 17th. You look at Gaza and you look at Tel Aviv with the gorgeous beaches and how they're building up the city in a beautiful way. And the potential with Gaza, 100% there with the beachfront and what they could have done and build an economy. No. They want to destroy us. That's it. And any kind of agreement that's reached is trying to get an inch closer to that goal of destroying us. So nothing works. They're not into. They don't think about it because they view themselves as the Arab Islamic world civilization. They want to call it that, and we are supposed to be non-existent. And they just want to wipe us out, and that's it. So it doesn't matter, and really it belongs to us anyways. And then let's just get with it then and get these enemies of the Jewish people out.
Shagi Kaddish to Rabbanan? So I want to say another Kaddish here. יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה, בעמד
אמן.
וברכותיו, ימליך ברכותיו, יצמח פורקניו, וקרב ישיחי, וחייבנו בימיכון, וחי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. יש
אמן.
רבה מבורך מבורך, ומאו מיה, יתברך, יתפאר, יתרומה ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמני קודשה בריחו, לילה וכל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבתה ונחמתה, דלן ואמרת אמרו אמן. ישראל רבנן, אל תלמידיהם, ואל כל תלמידי תלמידיהם, ואל כל מן נעשים את הדיב, התשק, קדישה עדי בכל אתר ואתר. יאללה נכון, שפמה רבה, חינא וחיסר אחרי רכי, זנר וחי. פורקנה מקלום, דשמיא והרב אמרו אמן. יש להם רב אמן, וחיים טובים עלינו וכל ישראל אמרו אמן. עשה שלום ואומה, וברכה ועשה שלום עלינו וכל ישראל אמרו אמן.
Amen.
All right. So I got
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean everything you were saying is true, and again, I don't know how to get the point. I don't know how to get the point across to people. You know, it just I don't know. It's beyond me. You know, my son, like a lot of guys were saying, they were fighting in Gaza for all these months, and every house they went into, every house had a picture of the Dome of the Rock on Har Bayit. Everyone, and he says, and their war is what was it called, the storm of Al-Aqsa. And their previous war was Intifada, the rebellion of Al-Aqsa. Everything is Al-Aqsa. Everything is the Dome of the Rock. Everything is the Temple Mount. They can't spell it out more clearly to us what the whole story is. We're on our way to Jerusalem. That's what they say. We're on our way to Jerusalem. They sound like the Crusaders. You know, we're on our way to Jerusalem, and we're going to kill every Jew on the way.
Yep.
It wasn't like they cared about the kibbutzim in around Gaza Strip, but it's part of their belief. They have to kill every Jew on the way to free the Temple Mount from the infidels, the Jewish infidels. And you would think, like when we discussed before, the concept of taking revenge. At the very least, the most simple revenge would be to throw them off the Temple Mount. Throw them off.
Yeah.
Like I said, you guys have made it clear that you want to kill us for the Temple Mount, so that's it. You're not on the Temple Mount anymore. It's gone. You know, and everyone said the whole Islamic world would be up in arms. Even the Europeans, and you know what? Again, coming back to Rabbi Kahana, what would he say? He'd say, okay, so who's stronger? You know, God, Hashem, or all these Muslims and Europeans? Who's stronger? So who cares what they say? If God's stronger, if God's not stronger, then okay, then we have a problem. But we believe that Hashem is stronger than all of these nations put together. So it's really a true faith, a true test of faith and belief. You know, do you really believe and trust in Hashem, or do you don't? Obviously, the people that run the show here don't have that, that trust and faith. So everything they do has to coordinate with the Americans and somewhat with the Europeans, and they don't want to get anybody angry at us because we need their weapons and we need, it's very unfortunate, but that's the way it is. I mean, Rabbi kind of tried to run. He ran for the Knesset. They threw him out. They banned him. He was going to become the third largest party. If things would have progressed the right way, he would have become prime minister. But apparently, the state of Israel is not built for that. Okay, there's this whole concept that we have in our concepts of redemption, which is we have two Mashiachs, two Messiahs. We have the Mashiach Ben-Yoseph and Mashiach Ben David.
Yeah.
Mashiach Ben-Yoseph, the son of Joseph, it's his responsibility to rebuild the physical, the physical, the physical existence of the Jews in the land of Israel.
Yep.
And then it's and then it's the Messiah, the son of King David's job to renew the spiritual level of the Jews living in the land of Israel. Okay, so in other words, at some point, it says that the Messiah, the son of Joseph, will be killed in battle. But someone wrote an article this past Shabbat that I read that was very interesting. He says that if we compared, what happened there between the brothers, Joseph and his brothers, Joseph and Judah and the other brothers, was that Joseph had this belief that we can bring the entire world, which at that time the main superpower was the Egyptians. We can bring the entire world to recognize Hashem and serve Hashem together. And the brothers said, no. We don't have those aspirations right now. Maybe one day. Right now, we have to make sure that the nation of Israel is a light unto the nations. But we can't worrying about bringing them around and converting them and so on. That was the argument between them, really. And Joseph wanted to prove that he was right. So what happened? Everywhere he went, when he was taken into Egypt, he succeeded. Whether it was in the house of Potiphar, whether it was by Paro himself, and he brought them all around to. He believed that he was bringing them around to believing in Hashem, to the point where it says that he told everybody they have to circumcise themselves, and Paro said to the people, whatever Joseph says to you, you have to do because of the famine. And so it looked like Joseph really succeeded in what he intended upon doing, was all the nations to believe in Hashem. The brothers come in, and there's still this argument between them existed, because again they don't agree with it. So when they finally go down to settle in Egypt, they told them, we don't want to live with the Egyptians. We want Goshen. Give us Goshen, and we want to live separately from them, because we're supposed to take care of Am Yisrael and make Am Yisrael a special nation, right? A Goy Kadosh, a holy and special nation. And we have to live amongst to ourselves. We can be a beacon to the nations from where we are, but not to be working on trying to convince them to join us. And that was the big argument. And in the end, the brothers were right, and Joseph was wrong. I mean, he looked like he succeeded, but in the end, he didn't. And so, in the end of days, that's what's supposed to happen. Is that idea of bringing all the nations together and serving Hashem together is only at the end of days. But until then, the Jewish people are supposed to be a separate nation, separate holy nation. Havdalah, like Rabbi Haniyeh would say, Havdalah, separation. And so that's what we see here that the state of Israel wants to be not a beacon of the nations, wants to be part and parcel of the United Nations. We want to be accepted by them. We want to be with them. We want to, go to the Olympics, and we want to be at the UN, and we want to be, we want to be in all these conventions and be accepted. And that's not the case. That's the mistake. Okay, and that's why in the end the state of Israel is going to fail because of that. Because that can't be until we have the Messiah, the son of David, takes over, and we rebuild the temple and restore the true monarchy of Israel. That can't be that situation. So again, one day, unfortunately, the people that run the state of Israel, the leftists, think that we could do that now. We don't need to wait till the end. We can be along with all the nations right now, and we see that's how they conduct their policies and everything is based on that belief. Like, the end of days is now, and it's not yet. We're not there yet. Now we're on the northern side. We can see here
Right.
the floor of the Temple Mount, and we're as usual, praying and learning Torah, saying Kaddish.
That's amazing, the turnout there right now.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's this time of year.
During the 3 weeks.
3 weeks, people can relate to the idea, but we still have so much opposition to coming up here.
Right.
It just doesn't seem to end. That once God wants to come around and understand that they were wrong. To admit you're wrong is a big problem. People don't want to admit they're wrong. So, excuse me, you're from the B'nai Haramoriah. Can you tell us what your organization is about? Seriously, people around the world want to know.
I refuse to answer any questions without a lawyer. You want to be my lawyer?
Yeah, I'm your lawyer. Okay.
Wait, so what's
B'nai Haramoriah. Explain. You're now on.
I actually don't know.
You're wearing a shirt.
Okay.
You don't know what it means? Not really? Okay. He's wearing a shirt, but he doesn't know what it means. B'nai Haramoriah is a new organization, a new youth organization that was created to bring about Jewish sovereignty over the Temple Mount.
Right.
Whether it's by coming up, by bowing down when you're up here. A lot of guys got arrested, have been banned from and getting a recognition, the fact that this is the holy site to the Jewish people and should be under Jewish sovereignty. It shouldn't be under Arab sovereignty, Arab Muslim control, which it is right now. Even though the police keep the Israeli police keep the what do you call that, the justice of the peace. They keep the peace supposedly up here. They keep the Jews in place so it doesn't so World War III doesn't break out. They think.
Right.
And but so there's no real sovereignty up here. There's police control. But we want sovereignty. We want this Temple Mount back in our hands. We want to run the show up here. We want to build the altar. We want to build the temple. We want to bring the sacrifices. We want to be able to bow down. We want to be able to come up anytime of day. It's not. That's my slave name.
So Baruch, so with that, apparently the Sanhedrin was also on Har Bayit. So where is the Sanhedrin to be situated on Har Bayit?
Okay, so when we started walking around, there's also an argument about where exactly the Sanhedrin sat, but my belief is that we're told the Sanhedrin was half inside the holy part of the holier part of the Temple Mount and the less holier part of the Temple Mount. It's also was next to the altar. So the altar was on the southwestern side of the temple area. And as we walk in, we come in from the western side. We come the southwestern side. We come into the Temple Mount. And as we walk around, to our left would be the spot of where the Sanhedrin would have sat. Again, assuming that it's sat next to the altar on the southwestern side. I think there's also a belief that it might have sat on the north side, but I don't believe that. So, assuming the Sanhedrin sat there, we walk by the spot. And as we walk from west to east, and that's where they would have sat. So when there was an attempt to renew the Sanhedrin, I tried to convince them that if they wanted to be a real Sanhedrin, then have to come up to the Temple Mount every day and sit and be on the Temple Mount, deliberate. That's where your meetings should be. Should be every day on the Temple Mount and deliberate about all kinds of different questions of law, halakha, and so on.
Sure.
What is that way?
The government, nobody asked the government their permission. These rabbis could have, done that if they really wanted to create a Sanhedrin. To me, it was more like, this is what I believe that happened, was that they thought by creating a Sanhedrin, there would be all of a sudden a metaphysical change and miracles would occur, and they wouldn't have to expend the energy and the effort to come up every day and assume the job of a Sanhedrin, because there's a fundamental
Disconnect.
okay, you will use the word disconnect for lack of any better word, that the Jews still think that they don't have the ability to create the reality. So we need to like kind of start things going, but then let Hashem take over and do miracles. But it doesn't work that
Right.
way in real life. Okay, so if they were sincere and serious about real Sanhedrin, then they would have made the effort to, like I said, come up every day and deal with these issues. They still periodically get a phone call, we're having a meeting, we're doing that. And to me, it doesn't mean anything because it's not. I went one time. I spoke to them exactly about this. I said, if you guys want to, you got to come to the Temple Mount and act like a real Sanhedrin. And they say, yeah, okay, but it's a lip service. So
Right.
Sanhedrin would be really one of the most important things because it would be able to unite the Jews under halacha of one law for the Jewish people. It shouldn't be 2 or 10 or 20 laws. It should be one law, and that's the purpose of a Sanhedrin. And by doing that, they would be able to answer a lot of questions that people have. The mere fact that they'd be up here every day would totally, basically cancel all of the opposition that exists and all of the
Misinformation.
misinformation that's spread out there. I have
Right.
my advisor here next to me telling me what to say.
Okay, I gather.
So that's really, I mean, again, nothing we should do should ever be relying on a miracle. The miracle happens. The miracle happens. That's
Right.
Hashem's decision if He wants to send a miracle or not. We're told not to rely on miracles, and nothing we should do
Right.
should ever be relying on miracles. If we renew the Sanhedrin, without relying on the fact that Hashem is going to suddenly open the gates and build us a building to sit in.
Then Jews would even be opposed to that, It took us, God gave us 10 huge miracles in Egypt, right? Then 2 seconds later, we want watermelon, we want this, we want that.
That's not our.
Right?
The fact that there are Jews out there that will spit in Hashem's face, as they say,
Prophets of Jews didn't
by saying, send us back to Egypt. We miss Egypt,
Prophets of Jews didn't even
Yeah,
leave.
4 of the Jews didn't leave. So the same thing here. There will be those Jews that will, even despite everything, just like today, there are those that say, this is not Hashem's will that we came back to the land of Israel and built a state, and this is an act of the Satan. That's what they say. The act of the Satan. Yeah. So there'll always be that problem. But the question is, who's the majority and who's... Oh, look at that cat. What a bird. Wow, we got old birds instead here. There'll be any cats on the Temple Mount. Please. All right, what I could say. Here we're now on the western side of the Temple Mount, the area between the western wall and the real western wall, what's called the Herodian Western Wall, built by the evil King Herod, and the real Western Wall, which would be over here, where we are right now, and that is the closest we can get to the Dome of the Rock, the spot of the temple where the temple stood, the Holy of Holies, right inside that door over there.
Yep.
And we're almost finished with our circling the temple, circling the temple, circling around the temple, as part of our goal to bring back Jewish, the Jewish sovereignty over the Temple Mount, a Jewish presence, so we can serve Hashem on the Temple Mount, build the altar, bring the sacrifices, pray, bow down, and so on. The quicker we do all this, the chance we have of surviving and all of these attacks and defeating our enemies and bringing them to submission. Obviously, if there was the Temple Mount was in our hands and we had a temple, they would have no reason any longer to fight us. In fact, they would see that the temple really brings a great blessing to them in the entire world, which is what we're told by the rabbis. That's, in the time of Solomon, all the nations saw that. They came here and they brought sacrifices because they saw the great blessing, like the queen of Ethiopia and so on. But again, the unfortunately Jews think that if we take the Temple Mount back and restore what has to be here, we're going to cause World War III. That's what they believe. It's World War III. It's like the Muslims aren't going to sit quietly, the Arabs aren't going to sit. Nobody's going to sit quietly and let us do that. It's the exact opposite. That's the amazing thing. Obviously, I can't prove it. I believe it though. I believe it with all my heart that it would be the exact opposite. It would be
Right.
It would bring the true peace amongst the nations. Again, because the nations, to be at peace, they all have to serve Hashem from this place, from Jerusalem, from the Temple Mount, from the temple, and that's it. That's where we stand. This is where we are right now.
100%.
Okay, so now we're on our way out. Been here for about an hour.
Yep.
Nobody's been pushing us around and telling us to go faster, which is nice, And basically, they have allowed us to pray openly and not to try to stop us, shut us up. So, thank God. And hopefully things will only get better as we go along. So, Meir.
There's progress in the past few years. But, I just saw somebody posted something on social media. There's a meme going around after the assassination of Haniyeh and others that the meme said that the Arabs made simplest Torah into a day of mourning, and looks like Tisha B'Av is going to become a day of joy.
All right, let's see. Hopefully.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay. Who said this?
This is trending on social media.
Oh.
There's a few different memes going around in that direction with that message.
Right. I'm all for it.
Right.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Meir.
Okay, Baruch. So thank you very much, and let's try and pick it up every week.
Yeah.
With the Parsha. Absolutely.
Right.
Very good.
All right, we'll be in touch. Take care.
Thank you very much. Shalom, shalom.